What's up, children? I know that was loud. I know I made it purposely out loud. But anyways, this is gonna be What If Deku was Jedi, and in my previous other attempts, I said this. I know I said I didn't want to make another series, but you guys didn't say any ships for Miles Morales. I'm guessing, I don't know what you guys want for that. So yeah, and also a lot of people didn't even watch it, so I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, I'm gonna do What If Deku was a Jedi / glow up. Anyways, but yeah, now we're gonna start. So pretty much where I started with my last one is Izuku already knows he's quirkless, and we're just gonna start off with the last day of high school, so we could have a better episode. So yeah, and now we begin. We begin off with Izuku. It's the end of class, and Izuku is about to go home. He doesn't want to stay here, and he just wants to go home. He doesn't want to deal with anyone. And that's when all of a sudden, Bakugo and his gang will be, and everyone calls him a pig and a boar because he's a lot more chubbier than everyone else. But people that are going to beat the shit out of him, the living shit out of him, will be pretty much the Bakugo squad except for Mina, and then it'll be Jiro. I don't know. It's just going to be a Bakugo squad, and no, it's just going to be Bakugo, Uraka, Ida, who else should it be? And let's say pretty much the rest of Class 1A except for Shoto, Mina, Jiro, and Shoji. So yeah. If you don't know who Shoji is, he's the tentacle guy. So yeah. But anyways, like I was gonna say, we go back to now, okay. We go back to, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, back to the class, and that's when everyone was leaving, because it's the last day, no one wants to be at school or anything. And that's when all of a sudden, Izuku's the last one except for everyone else that was there, like I just said. And they closed the door. Izuku didn't notice, and when Izuku looked up, that's when it began. Izuku started getting beat up. Bakugo, everyone just used their quirks on him. Izuku's bleeding from everywhere. And and after a good solid hour, Bakugo just says, let's leave him now. We did what we did. Who knows? He might get another quirk in his next life if we did that much damage. And he laughs about it out loud. And that's when all of a sudden he just said, they all leave, and Izuku's on the ground, not conscious anymore. He's knocked out, and no one until hours comes back, because Inko, after 5 hours, Inko got worried, and Inko does care still, but she's just not as supportive, you could say, but she still supports him, in a way. Or she's not as supportive, but she still loves him. And that's when all of a sudden, she called the cops because Izuku was gone for so long. And the cops looked and took a look at his school, and that's when they saw him on the ground with blood everywhere. And that's when all of a sudden the cop calls ambulance, and the ambulance rushes quickly, and this is on the news quickly also. Everyone is just in shock that students, and it's unknown who did it. Still unknown, because they don't know who just killed or potentially just murdered Izuku. And yeah. And now we go to the next part. And that's when Izuku's in this white area. It's all white. He walks around, and it just seems like hours and hours, maybe even a month or so. And he's confused. he's walked around for hours, like I said, not months, hours, and he just doesn't know what happened to him. And that's when all of a sudden 3 people came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, like I said, Izuku is just scared. He said, who are you people? What do you want from me? I don't have anything for you. Where am I? And he's just scared. And one of them just says, you sure about this? He says, yes, I'm sure. And the other one, she just says, okay, well, let's give him it. And that's when they just show them faces, and it's a girl and 2 other guys. And sorry about that. Max, get down. But anyways, like I said, he just Max. He just did nothing. He said, who are you? And they said, we are the last Jedis, or we're the last Jedis. He says, Jedi, what are those? He says, Jedis. They're soldiers that are rebellions, you could say. I'm trying to remember what Jedis were. Aren't they? They're like the lightness to the Empire, so they're pretty much rebels. But they're not rebels, so yeah. Anyways, and he says, well, no, I got a better idea. And that's when they said what they were from. And one said she was from an empire. The other one said he was from the light side. And the other one said, I'm from the rebels. And he says, okay, but what does that mean? And they said, years ago, lost technology from now that you cannot find anymore because it's buried, and even on other planets. And he says, wait, other planets? What happened years ago? And they explain everything. There's the greatest war to mankind, but mankind got rid of it, or they got rid of it. They don't want anyone else trying to do their mistakes. And that's when all of a sudden, and that's all of a sudden when they just say, well, after that, after they're done explaining their story, they just said, so, as what we told you at that last bit, I told you that we were, I guess, born to you, and now we give you the choice. Do you want our powers and keep living, or would you not want our powers and end it all? He says, what do you mean by end it all? He says, if you don't accept this power, you'll die. And that's when they said, wait, what do you mean I'll die? It's simple. You were beaten to death until we came, but you do have a choice. Do you or do you not? And Zuki said, and he thinks he wants to help. He wants to protect his mom. And yeah. He wants to protect his mom and everything. He just wants to do something, but he just doesn't want to be hurt by everyone else still. And that's when the man in a mask says, if you do accept our powers, you will use it for good, would you? He says, if you don't, we won't deny it, but we will be disappointed. You will be one of the strongest people in your world. Maybe even the strongest. It depends how you take it. And Izuku takes a deep breath and says, I accept. And that's when the rebel one says, good. Then we begin our training. You are not in shape, as we could all tell. Says, yes, I'm not. Says, well, I could fix that. Right now, you've been in a coma for 1 month so far. After we're done training you, it will be 5 months. So, let our 4-month training begin, shall we? And he says, of course. And that's when all of a sudden, Izuku just starts training with these 3. They first train his body. They make him muscular, and he will look like this pretty much. He'll look stronger. He'll look slim and stuff like this. So yeah. And I just genuinely chose this because they were really good. I don't know why I had this one. I think I was also looking for a Hanzilla kind of version of him, you could say. But, meh. I'm honestly just gonna get rid of it. So yeah, you'll look like this first, stuff like that. And yeah. I was thinking of this being Deku, right, as his hero costume, but then I like this a lot more. So yeah. Anyways, but we go back to the story. And it took 2 months to train his body. And that's when he began training with everyone else. And the thing is, if it took 2 months, he only has 2 more months. Because of one thing. And that one thing is, he took one search of a month. Took 1 month to try to find where he was. And yeah. Now we go to the next little bit, and that's when he trains with the first one, and that's the one in the mask. And he calls him, and he says, "My name is Zero. You'll call me by Sensei. Understood?" And he says, "Understood, sir." And he said, "Understood, Sensei. Sensei Zero." He says, "Good. Learning fast." He says, "The first thing you must learn is control." And he says, "Wait, what's that in your pocket, sir?" He says, "That is not what I'll teach you. It will be teaching you the Force." He says, "Wait, what's the Force, sir?" He says, "The Force is a strong bond between everything in the world and you. If it's like ability to send things towards you and pick up objects. You could say like telekinesis, but you don't need to. I get to sense you have it because how pure you are. And since you're so pure, but the thing is, this sense has been tricked before by other people that act as they're pure, but they're wicked." And Izuku's a little shocked by this, but he says, "Understood, sir." He says, "Good. Now we shall train. First, meditation for as long as you can without making a sound." And he said, "Understood, sir." And all of a sudden, he hits Izuku in the head. He says, "Sir, what was that for?" He said, "Sensei, what was that for?" He says, "First of all, you called me sir." And he punches him again, and that's also for calling me sir again. But I was not going to just teach you the Force. I'll teach you how to dodge, how to to run around as much as you can." And he said, "Oh, I understand, Sensei." And while Izuku's meditating, it takes him half the month just to sense Zero coming and him to keep meditating. He dodges well and everything. And Zero is very shocked that he's learning as fast as he was. He says, good. I guess since you are doing well so far, and you've almost mastered it all, we go to the next level. Combat, in a way. I thought I would have to teach you all this in 1 month, or in the last 10 days, but I could teach you for the next half of this month. So, let us begin. And they practice hand-to-hand combat, nothing else. And Izuku learns from his dodges. So, that's all for his first month. Now, he still has to train with 1 more month between 2 people. Wait, right? No, yes, 2 months, yes. Because they trained 1 month. Okay, so he spent 1 month running around, spent 1 month of training his body, 1 month with this guy. Oh, never mind then. Because that's only 3 months so far. Okay, now back to the thing. Now, we go back to our next little bit. And our next little bit will be, him training with the rebel. And he says, hi. And he says, so, Zero has taught you well, I see. He says, yes, sir. He says, good. That's how you will call me, understood? He says, yes. If I like you, I'll tell you what my name is, and you might be able to use it as a hero, you could say, if you decide that. He says, okay. And he says, good. Now, and he throws Izuku a weapon, or some type of metal rod. He says, sir, what is this? And, here, give me a second. Okay, so he throws him this. He says, sir, what is this? And he says, it's a lightsaber. That's what I'll be training you with. And he says, okay. He says, first, focus. And he says, okay. Then, push a button. And he says, wait, what? Push a button, I said. He says, understood, sir. And he pushes a button, and a light pops out of it. Says, oh, wow, that was fast. Says, yes, be very careful. I almost lost an eye to this. He says, oh, okay. Says, okay, anyways. Now, and just imagine it's this color, okay? Or however you want to think of it. So this is what are you guys' imagination? You think what type of color his beam comes, okay? Anyways, but yeah. And that's when all of a sudden this rebel charges at him quickly. And Izuku was not ready. Izuku's never used like a sword or anything. So he's terrible at it. And it takes more than half the month for him to get. It takes an extra week for him than a month. No, more than half a month for him to get used to it. He says, okay, I think I'm used to it. And he says, took you long enough. Now we get more advanced. And he says, understood. And Izuku keeps up with him now. He's kept up with him more often. And he just keeps fighting. And he is surprised that Izuku could keep up with his fast attacks. Because Izuku just attacks even faster than he is. And other 2 watchers are amazed that Izuku's keeping up with the fastest in their group. He's the best at taking people out fast. Zero is the best at using the Force. And she is the best at keeping at attacking multiple people at once. But overall, Zero is the second strongest, and the lady is the third, while he's the strongest of them. And Izuku is just messing around now. And that's when Izuku says, wait, we could use anything that we had learned, right? He says, yes, why? There's a reason. Excuse me. And he says, okay, and whatever. And he keeps going to fight. And that's when all of a sudden Izuku uses the Force to stop him. He says, oh, damn it. Smart kid. And that's when Izuku puts the blade to his neck. Says, forfeit or no. And that's when both of the coaches or the teachers jumped in and said, okay. And that's when the lady steps up and says, so, you want to take on one? You got to take us all on. That's what I'm teaching you now. You get a little bit more time with me, sweetie. And he says, okay, let's go. And instantly, Zero just starts attacking Izuku while the lady watches a little bit to see how he does. And Izuku can't focus on using the force while fighting. Just damn it, I gotta get used to that. And he goes back, he lets go of him and kicks him away for a second so he could get into a fight. And that's when that's when he starts attacking Zero. And Zero is attacking him while Zuku's is also dodging, trying to dodge the that rebel behind him. And he's just fighting, dodging as best as he can, and Izuku sometimes is getting overwhelmed, but moving quickly to get out of the way of getting overwhelmed. And that's when the girl said something after an hour of them fighting. She says, don't focus on one. Let your senses be aware of it. Don't let just your senses focus on one thing. Let it all out. Understood? And he says, yes, ma'am. And she says, don't call me ma'am. Call me... And that's when she says her name. Her name will be... Rebecca. Yeah. And she says, call me Rebecca. He says, yes, Rebecca. Yes, Sensei, Rebecca. She says, okay, I like that. Has a little catch to it. And he backs up from kicking Zero real quick. And Zero and the rogue start circling around him. And Izuku just takes a deep breath. And the lightsaber he has is just turns off for a second, then turns back on. He says, here we go. And instantly throws his lightsaber at the rogue and goes towards Zero. And they were confused why. And all of a sudden, before the lightsaber almost hit the rogue was ready to block it. The lightsaber went back to Izuku by using the force, and Izuku instantly started swinging it at Zero. And Zero was off guard a little, so he was almost cut by the lightsaber. But he keeps defending. That's when the rogue jumped from above, but Izuku moved quickly and kicked him in the side. It's just an all-out battle. And that's when, after 2 more hours, she says, okay, you could deal with 2 pretty well, and you could deal with 1 pretty well also. Let's try 3. And she instantly joins the fight. And Izuku is trying his best, and he's doing as well. And Izuku is also using his martial arts to hit Zero or the rogue, or maybe even Rebecca, and Sensei Rebecca, and he is taking them on well. And this goes on for another month, and now we go to the half a month, and Izuku's been fighting them for so long. He says, I'm so glad I don't have to eat it here, but I still have so much energy. And she says, good. We've been, and that's when they all said, we know, we've been building up your energy, your stamina, your durability, your strength, and your, what is that? Stamina, yeah, stamina and stuff like that. And he says, oh, I see. And he says, you guys want to take a break? And that's when they said, of course not. We only have a little bit more time with you. So get back up and let's go. He says, shall we? And Izuku does not look like this anymore. So now I could get rid of it. Thank God. I mean, not thank God. I just don't want more storage, as you know, if you watch Miles. he looks more like this to this to this, so whatever you want to call it. And Izuku's hair is green, of course, and it's longer, and he likes it like that. And yeah. And he goes back to fighting them. And Izuku fighting them over and over. Attacking them. Sorry. But attacking them. And it goes on for days, hours, and for the rest of the month. And for the last day, Izuku finally won. He first took out Zero. And Zero was surprised that he didn't go for anyone else. He says, first Sensei has to go down first. Am I right, Sensei Zero? He says, don't get cocky, kid. And all of a sudden, Zero sent his lightsaber at him, but spinning. And Izuku said, okay. And he slides under it and dodges it and throws his at it so it won't stop flying. And Izuku instantly goes towards Zero, but almost gets stopped, but jumps over the rogue and goes to hand-to-hand combat with Zero, while also dodging Rogue and Sensei Rebecca's attacks. And he says, and all of a sudden, he just puts two fingers up and hits Sensei Zero on the stomach, paralyzing him for a little bit. He says, you're out for the count now, huh? He says, yep, you won against me. And all of a sudden, he goes for the next one, and he goes for Lady Rebecca, or Sensei Rebecca, and she says, "Okay, come on, kid, let's see what you got." And he says, "With brother," and all of a sudden, he doesn't take his lightsaber back. He takes Zero's lightsaber and his own. He says, "Let's go then," and he throws Sensei's at Zero at his Zero's lightsaber at her, and she blocks it, not letting her, only focusing on that. And that's when Izuku had her chance, snuck up on her, and took her out by hitting her in the side. She says, well, I'm out. That hurt like a bitch. And he says, good. And that's when he said, well, time for you then, huh? He says, yeah, let's go. See what you got. And that's when the Rogue and Izuku went all out. The Rogue using everything he has. He uses two blades if it gets serious, and that's when it is serious now. And he goes all out on Izuku, and Izuku goes all out on him. It takes the rest of the day, but Izuku finally got him weakened and stopped him. And yeah. And that's when Izuku just says, or not Izuku. Yeah, Izuku says, well, you lost. You give up. And he says, never. And he's breathing hard, and he says, fine. And Izuku dashes towards him. Looks like he flickers out towards him and just hits him in the neck, chopping him. He says, but Rogue dodged quickly. Izuku thought he hit him, though. He says, I give up, but because I just want to say my goodbyes. We only have an hour left with you, so it's time to decide. What are you choosing, good or bad? And he says, I've decided a long time ago. I'm choosing the good. I will be a hero to protect others. And they were all happy. He says, good. He says, thank you. And he says, since you're done, we could send you early, but if you want to stay, we understand. He says, of course, I would love to stay with you guys. Would I be able to communicate with you guys? And he says, no. After this, we'll fade, but before we fade, you will have our memories and see what we've have felt. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we might be in your mind, but I doubt it. He says, okay. And then the hour goes by. And Izuku says, goodbye, senseis. And that's when the Rogue says, oh, so, I said if I liked you, I'll tell you my name. And my name... And that's when he says, my name is Hasashi. He says, huh, reminds me of my dad. Thank you. And he says, no worries, kid. And dips. And Izuku just fades away. And now Izuku's in the hospital. And hold up. Okay. And now he's in the hospital waking up slowly. And the doctor was just not in there. And Izuku woke up and he looked at himself and said, damn, I need to eat. But he looks at his stomach and but he noticed he looks more muscular though somehow. He says, popped off. I just need to eat now. You gotta watch it though. Don't want to overeat. And yeah. And that's when Izuku looks and just says, well, and he looks, actually no, he looks to the side of him and says, well, there's some food. There we go. And he eats all of it quickly. He says, there we go. Looks like I'm better. Huh. Dang, all that training did work out well. And Izuku stood up, and that's when all of a sudden, he just goes, what the hell? And it's probably Bruce or some shit. Anyways, but he goes and calls a button for the doctor. And everyone... But that's when all of a sudden, Izuku was wondering, wait, can I use the Force in this? And how would I get my lightsaber back? He's thinking, and he thinks a little bit, and he says, He says there's fallen tech in the ocean, but also on other planets. So, I have to think. And that's when he gets a memory that I didn't include. And this was from Master Zero. Because Zero taught him pretty much all the history, you could say. And he said that you can make them, but it will be a little difficult. Actually, nah. Yeah, and he just teaches him how to make it, so I should have said that. So yeah. Izuku remembers it very vividly, but he wants to try to find it first, so he decided to do that. And the doctor finally comes in and says, oh my god, I can't do it. He says, and that's when finally a doctor rushes in and says, you're awake? Sorry, we didn't come as soon. We thought it was a different room number. You've been unconscious for 5 months. And he says, oh, have I? And Izuku already knew this. He's like, yeah, I know, kid. I know, doc. But he said this in his mind. And he says, okay. So my mind's more clear now. That's good. And he says, you are good to go now. We just gotta do some checkups on you. And he says, go ahead. And the doc says, so you ate your food quickly? And he says, yeah, I was pretty hungry. He says, I get it. Also, you look amazing in shape then when we got you. And he says, yeah. And he says, sorry. And he says, don't worry about it, man. And he says, okay. And yeah, he just, hold on. But that's when he just, says, hold up, what? Okay, I gotta charge this phone so I could actually be on it tonight. But anyways, like I was saying, he just checks and he says, okay, I'm gonna go check you out and you should be able to go. He says, thank you, doc. And he says, of course. And the doc leaves and Izuku's just looking around it at his bag and stuff and changes. And his mom comes and says, Izuku, honey, you're here. You're okay? And he says, yeah, mom. And Izuku's a lot taller and a lot muscular. She says, you've changed, have you? And he says, what do you mean? And that's when he notices he's a lot taller. And he says, I guess, I mean, I was out for 5 months, mom. And he says, yeah, I'm sorry, sweetie. And that's when she says, wait, do you know who did this to you? And Izuku noticed, and Izuku does remember, but he doesn't want to say it. He says, no, mom, I'm sorry. She says, it's okay. And if you did, they would have got prison. The kids would have got into prison for about 5 years. He says, wow, 5 years? Ain't that kind of harsh? She says, no, it was attempted murder, so it would have been longer or something. by their reasoning, and he said, oh, I see. And yeah, that will be the end of part 1. I think I did really well for this part. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, and I hope you guys like the new intro. But yeah, but if you guys want, comment what you want for the miles if you want to continue. So yeah. But anyways, but yeah, that was the first episode to What If Deku was a Jedi. So yeah.